But we'll move on then to Saturday's games. There are 3 games on at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So we're first going to look at our own in self-interest. Northampton v Leinster.
Yes.
Franklin's Gardens, Saturday, 1 p.m. And what a game this is. There's a lot of history in terms of colour. There's Northampton and Leinster have met in this competition a few times before. Definitely Leinster have got the better of it so far. Like this Northampton as a club will feel they owe us pain. And they're probably right. They did us once and took our bonus point away in a home fixture, but that was the week after we'd gone and bonus pointed them in the Franklin's Gardens, so there's a bit of a wash.
Just breaking their poor wee hearts in the
11
in 2011. Again, both of us were at.
Absolutely,
But that was sensational and Johnny Sexton's finest hour.
Yes, all of those things. But Northampton don't have quite as many favourable memories of meeting the boys in blue.
I tell you, Rugby Pass had a contentious headline that I'll give you to discuss. Their usual salacious selves. They had Northampton Leinster this weekend features the delicious matchup of the best fly half in Europe and Johnny Sexton.
So they say.
What do you make of that?
He's playing beautiful rugby, is what I'll say.
Dan Bigger.
What I will say is, unlike the Northampton teams that Leinster have met before, this halfback combination is pretty bloody good.
Pretty good.
Reinach and Bigger is a really tidy.
Also, Cobus Reinach is another one of those Springboks just on cloud 9. Just the South Africans in general are all just playing stellar footy.
They absolutely all are too. I haven't seen a poor South African performance in quite a while from anyone. So there is that. There is also the fact that they do have good strike runners out wider than that. Their backline's tidy and their pack is big. Like they are a much more rounded unit of a team.
Proctor looking like, I mean, he was decent for the Canes, but like it's one of these things when the Kiwi boys come down south, come down up north rather, they just
light it up.
Yeah, they do tend to, don't they? I mean, it's something the Kiwis can feel quite smug about. Is like your stock Super Rugby back just looks unreal sometimes on a European pitch, and there is that factor to it. I mean,
sure,
we've seen it before. Some part of me thinks
James Lowe.
Part of me thinks if Michael Collins from the Blues joined someone random like Leon, he'd just be the best player in Europe. It's just one of these things. But Matt Proctor is tearing it up at the moment. Him and Hutchinson in the centre is just lovely. And then you've got Nair Oro, just a colossus. I mean,
absolutely,
what a player.
So
they're killers. I mean, that whole backline is just full of killers.
Absolutely true. Both sides are on 9 points, so it's even Stevens going into this match, I suppose, and these two head to heads. It is still possible that both teams escape the pool, but it's important. It's important in terms of making statements. The double headers will be
determinative. Like it's definitely important. And like with I guess Benetton and Leon are out of it, but you know, especially from who is it, Leinster's point of view, because Leinster still have to go to Benetton. You don't know, like, and likewise Northampton going to Leon. You just don't know what kind of thing you're going to get away from home, and if you do lose a couple here. That said, both on 9 points after 2 games. If they trade blow for blow, if it goes 5-4 or 4-5, the chances are the both of them will be featuring in the knockouts
for sure.
But even that said, the home advantage and the top of the pool advantage is massive in this tournament.
I think
home advantage in the quarterfinals.
One thing that colours how tight this is, the bookies have Leinster as current favourites for the tournament. They have Northampton as slight favourites for this game in the Gardens.
Well, there you go. In the Gardens, home. Well, just listen, form is everything, as we've been saying. What did we say from the World Cup? Form is everything.
And Northampton have been showing some flying form.
I tell you, Messrs Ludlam and Wood in the back row is pretty tasty. Like
Frank's in the front row.
Franks is actually
is he on the bench? Oh, he's injured.
He's injured. He has a sore toe or something. One of those prop
killers. Well, it can be. You can't drive if you can't get a toe in.
So they've got a very, very dynamic back row, and they're just playing lovely rugby. The one thing that I would say about Northampton as well is just they have a really great spirit at the moment. They just seem to be in sync with one another, and there's just like team spirit is a real thing. And after they score tries, they're all sort of
high fives
on each other.
It's positive vibes.
There's absolutely just a focus and a positivity around the club that you can see and feel the players' excitement from it.
For sure.
Very similar to what we were seeing from Toulouse this time last year when they turned Leinster
reinvigorated kind of show. They're sitting, I think, are they top of the Premiership at the moment as it stands? Maybe. They're certainly close to it.
They're up there.
I think Exeter, they did take control. It was either them or Exeter Leicester, and it's as of last week, but they handed out a whooping last week.
They handed out a whooping to Leicester 36-13. They are still top,
and
Exeter
handed out a whooping to Wasps, I think.
But Northampton are well in there in terms of potential favourites to win the comp there.
So that being said, how should Leinster attack them? How do we use the ball against this pretty good outfit that they played out probably the game of the tournament against Benetton last week or 2 weeks ago away from home and managed to get an away win with a bonus point in the very last second by playing some industrious rugby. What do Leinster have to do? They were rather I'm thinking in their approach to the away fixture in Lyon, they picked their most physical pack to try and nullify Lyon's only asset, which was scrum, line out maul, and they did so, but they created a very dour looking spectacle in doing so, but managed to get the win, which is important, and it's very much this is a different test entirely, a much more rounded team I think than Lyon in this Northampton effort. So Leinster should look to try and set more of their tempo. I think they need to try and play things on their terms. The success we've had in the Gardens before has been with blitz style attack.
That's it. I don't think that you need to get involved well, you may, but I don't think you need to get involved in a gunfight necessarily with Northampton when there's cleverer ways to go about it. Like one of the things that Leinster have done to the likes of Toulouse and these industrious sizes is impose themselves
just
physically on the game.
Ball and impose themselves.
It's hard to overstate the value and the physicality of the type 5 that Leinster have. Whether it's a young Kelleher who's looks like a phenomenal player and looks like a guy who's going to get some test time in the Six Nations for a young man, which is great, but also Cian Healy and Tadhg Furlong. I mean, this is not the World Cup anymore. This is a step down. With
guys coming off the bench who are like Porter coming off the bench is
who
a
are hungry
sight.
and physical as well. But
yeah,
Leinster's type 5 wins them so many games.
It does,
and I think that's where they're also going to go from minute one in this, is just those narrow contacts. Can Northampton deal with what Tadhg Furlong brings, what Scott Fardy brings, what James Ryan brings in that contact area? That is the most noticeable area of advantage for Leinster.
For sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Outside of that, in terms of how you're using the ball to break them down, I think it will be a game of patience. I think Leinster won't take too many risks. They are relatively risk averse as a side. They're going to be happy enough to kick the ball when they're in their own half. They're not going to play too much rugby.
Do so through McGrath and Sexton, both of them, box kicks and
and when they're in the opposition half, they'll be more than happy to rack up phases. But they move with a crispness, and they do offload. They're not like Ireland. They do move the ball around. They do, they offload, they run clever little angles, they play off Sexton a bit. Leinster will probe and they will test your defence beyond that, but they will go back to that physicality, and they will get a tempo going. They'll try and move it a bit quickly. They'll try and suck them in, but they'll go around the corner, and the job will be suck them in, resource the breakdown well, keep the pace of the game up, frustrate them, and then when the space is there, Leinster will cross kick or they'll get ring rolls into the game.
Find low when the moment is right. Find low, and the try will come. That's definitely the blueprint for Leinster. And then in terms of defending against this when they don't have the ball, because that's going to be a big ask. Like, this Northampton team have shown good zest with ball in hand, have shown good tempo themselves, and Bigger is choosing some great options. His passing game is looking sharp, so you're going to need the likes of Josh van der Flier. He really makes his money for Leinster off the ball when he's defending. He leads the defensive line.
One of the things that you saw from Leinster in the Pro 14 last week, when they were playing Glasgow, and they kind of broke the back of Glasgow, and it was a relatively full Glasgow side, and it was Will Connors, who's like discount Josh, Academy Josh, who was performing very much that same role, just getting out into players' faces. And it was really just frustrating them. Extremely quick line speed from the number 7, which Josh van der Flier can bring, and just sticking tackles behind the gain line, forcing everything to be quicker and less natural than it can be. Really discounting the capacity of the side to suck players in with the short carry game, and forcing them to go wide very quickly when there isn't really space to do that.
And then once you force that, that's when the likes of Henshaw and Ringrose, who haven't found their straps with ball in hand yet at all really as a partnership this year, be that in green or blue, but what they are both very adept at is shutting out the space, particularly when the opportunity has come from the type 5 in, or just the whole pack inside. Josh and the likes of Fardy, then if it's messy and then getting out into those channels, that's when those two need to be up in their face, bringing that line speed and just shutting the door for any of those options, for painting that picture for bigger, which you'll be familiar with. He's experienced it through Ospreys of Leinster actually getting in his face and stopping it. But he's also he is one of those guys who has memories of how to unpick that. He's broken the backs of Leinster before in an Osprey shirt. There's no reason he'll think that he can't do it here with Northampton now.
No, absolutely. And with Leicester's Hutchinson and Proctor outside him, it is a massive challenge.
Yeah,
and that is one of the more delicious battles. Henshaw and Ringrose, assuming it'll be Henshaw, might be Tamani, and Ringrose up in that contact battle with those two attackers. That's a delicious battle. But I tell you one matchup I don't like from Leinster's point of view is if young Jordan Larmour, who is a lovely, exciting talent, is picked on the right wing. I do not rate his capacity to tackle to Kelly Nairavoro.
No.
Because that boy...
He'll just get trucked out of the way.
There's a touch of the Nadolos to Nairavoro, especially when he's at his best, and he just becomes untackleable.
Yeah.
And from a defensive point of view, I guess isolate him. Don't let them put him in space.
Don't let it get
but
that
when
far.
When he gets in space, there's danger there.
Absolutely is. Because physically, I don't think Larmour can stop him, and then pace wise, I think with Carney at fullback, if that's the option, I think he may not even need to run over him. He might just run around him.
Would you swap? Would you do something different than that?
Well, I don't know. Would Larmour go at fullback and then get someone in on the wing? I don't know.
Who's the someone? Not Dave Carney, surely.
Not Dave Carney. Maybe Kelleher after last week. I don't know. These are all calls. Adam Byrne, if you want to go high balling.
You could go Hugo Keenan on the wing.
Maybe. I don't think he's sticking that tackle.
No,
either.
I don't think anybody is. Like, here's the thing. This is, we can muse all we want, but Denaya Ravoro is a bit of a freak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's got to be, it's eating up the space, making sure that he's not getting those one-on-ones, and that comes from disrupting the break down ball, making every ruck a bit messy, but that begins and ends with getting out of the line and shutting those runners out before they even happen, before they have a chance to reach the gain line, make the read, make the tackle, stick it.
Yeah.
That's the way to stop that. It's just to remove wingers from the picture. And we actually saw a bit of that in the second week from a multitude of teams. We saw a theme of just wingers almost frozen out of the game, just being cold on the wing with ball in hand, because it was always the contact was happening inside them. And if Leinster are to succeed in shutting down this Northampton outfit, that's the picture they want to paint when they don't have the ball.
The other thing that's a massive factor, obviously, is that there's no Courtney Laws.
Yeah.
And Leinster, I think,
influence the set piece.
This is the thing. Leinster, I think, are going to attack at both set pieces. I mean, they've got a very natural line-out operator in Scott Fardy.
Whether they want to opt with toner or not, they can choose that for line out at the expense of some scrum power, or they can do what they do against Leon, which is Fardy and Ryan, which is certainly the most physical row combination.
I think on paper the best combination that Leinster have is probably Dev and Ryan in a lock with Fardy at 6 and Ruddock at 8 and Josh at 7.
Yeah.
And then you're getting the likes of Daragh and Deegan out of there for now anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the best combination. But absolutely, I think the goal is to attack them at line out time and also to attack them at scrum time. And it's like Northampton are by no means weak in those areas, especially at the scrum. Leinster can be freakishly elite as a club side.
They can turn it on and go after some scrums sometimes.
Scrums that it would never occur to the tight head that he's going out there to be absolutely monstered. He's thinking he's going out there to lock down the scrum and get on with his game, and whatever goes wrong, it's not going to be him. But Leinster, when they're at their best, and Cian Healy when he's at his best, can monster any tight head
for sure. And especially if that heft isn't quite coming in from behind with Courtney Laws out of there, that can be the micro kind of difference.
So that's actually
and then
huge.
Line out maul as well, because Courtney Laws, say what you will about him, he's a great line out maul defender. He's great at getting that front crawl through the maul going.
Canada has so many tries from the maul this year.
Exactly.
So that set piece is massive, and from Northampton's point of view, stymieing and stopping that Leinster set piece, locking down the scrum, frustrating them at maul time. Guys like Ratuni Irawa and Alex Moon in there in the lock, frustrating and stopping the Leinster maul. Those guys really need to step up in that area.
For sure.
That'd be huge for them.
I'm also interested in the other set piece, which is the kickoff. I'm unsure as to how both of these sides will approach it, because they all have different avenues. You have both of those halfbacks on either side are confident kicking the ball to exit. It's whether they'll want to or not. How efficient will they be off exit strategy? I'm kind of scratching my head at that, because I think there's definitely different avenues and approaches, and it depends what conditions are like, what they're facing when they're there. we'll see on the night, but I'll be interested when scores happen, what's the response of the other team, because I think that will be telling by the end. The ones that respond best to the scores when they happen will probably just about nick that win. But then Northampton, from their position, whatever about exiting, when they're attacking, they need to get some of that fluidity that they've had all year, get that tempo going, get literally a load of runners playing off Reinach, but spreading those edges so that Josh Van der Veer can't be quite as effective. Because one of the things that was happening against Glasgow was just, and he wasn't there, but that was the one last week with Will Connors, was just that it was so telegraphed where the ball was going, so there was time to get up in the face. There needs to be more deception off 9, and that in itself, if there's a few runners interspaced wider out from the ruck, it just spreads us a little thinner and means that there's more space for Biggar.
Dan Biggar has worked some delightful plays into his game, including some soft hands, which he was showing off in the second round, or was that the first round against Leon? I can't quite remember. But Northampton's comeback against Benetton in that second round was absolutely masterful. And they moved the ball very, very sharply, and Matt Proctor is an absolute handful to deal with. They've got lethal weapons on the wing.
They have 2 Fijians.
They're
what is your man's name in the row now?
Ratuni
Urawa, who linked very well with Naya Ravoro for one of their tries against Benetton as well. Little breakaway one, those offloading. That is one way you can get around the structured defence of Leinster.
Lewis Ludlam is in fine form as well, but it's got to be quick and it's got to be sharp, and Dan Biggar's got to run the show. And then all of a sudden, if they can get on the right side, if Hutchinson and Proctor can get through the Leinster defence, if Biggar can put them through the right holes, Biggar's good. Biggar's crafty. He's really, really, really good. And if Gary Ringrose
also likes playing well against Leinster, he likes beating those boys.
If Gary Ringrose and Robbie Henshaw get out of the line, if they get undisciplined, if they're trying desperately to shut things down, he will time the dink perfectly and get it over their heads. His offensive game has really come on, and he has a load of different tools. He has crossfield kicks, he has little dinks, he has a glorious passing game, he's got this soft hands, he's reading the game better and better and better as he gets older.
He takes it to the line, he's physical in contact as well.
He has the up and under play, which he's as far as I'm concerned the best out half in the world, maybe Pollard, but
at receiving his own kick, he's great at it. He's done it in World Cups before.
So I mean, that Biggar is absolutely crucial to what Northampton do. But it's all about reading the game. You're operating at a very high level when you play against Leinster, so you're going to have less time. You're going to be under more pressure. You're going to have to be more front up physically more than you usually would.
Sure. But the central point is they need to be courageous, and they need to get the Gardens firing, get that cauldron atmosphere early by going after Leinster from minute 1. Don't allow Leinster to be the ones setting the tempo, be the ones themselves to be getting their hands on the ball and moving those. I think
one of the key ways to do that is when you're on the other side of the ball, and it's something that you saw with Toulouse against Leinster, and it's something that Irish teams in general struggle with, is when their big ball carriers are stopped. There are very few Irish sides that have ever been outside of the Leinsters of sort of 2006 kind of
those iterations,
the Brian O'Driscoll years
of winning games with 24% possession.
Indeed. Outside of those years, it's always very. We like to be able to rely on the one out runner, and we like to be able to generate things off that. And he was what I cited when I was talking about Leinster and what they should be doing. Is working those guys into the game. But if Northampton, if the likes of Tom Wood, who is has played brilliantly against Leinster in the past, if he can get out and be in Leinster's face, if they can just chop the likes of Tyg Furlong, if a big hit on James Ryan, for example,
early days,
if Ryan goes into a contact with one guy is about to win it and do a stretchy thing, and then another 2 guys come in and drive him backwards, those are the moments. Absolutely. That's going to get the crowd into the game. Then you pile over the breakdown. Leinster don't like that. They gave it to James Ryan because they wanted him to go forward so they could set something up, and all of a sudden he's smashing backwards. That's the picture that Northampton need to be creating, that I hope desperately that they don't create.
Indeed, but it's very possible. I'm fearful for it. So how do you think it goes in the Gardens?
I can never call Leinster or Ireland games really.
Neither can I, because I'm just going to say Leinster are going to do it. But I'm more wary of that than in years gone by. I was more confident going to Franklin's Garden
more
years
when
ago.
The draw was made.
Yeah, I was too. But watching Northampton this year, they're a bloody good team with bloody good halfbacks, and they'll fancy it as well. They won't. I don't expect a flat start from Northampton. I expect a helter skelter.
Yeah, I expect it to be physical. There's like Munster Saracens on paper as the game of the weekend, and it's hard to argue. But this is up there as well.
In terms of form and history
and form.
Yeah, all of the above. It's two really good sides meeting each other. They're top of both of their respective leagues. So the caliber is just going to not be in doubt. Yeah. And may the better side win, and may that side be Leinster by more than 7 points if possible. But I would take a 1 point win.
Any away win is massive.
To be honest.
But that is the Leinster Northampton game.
Yeah.
There's one other.
Thanks for watching the Overlap Rugby podcast. If you want to subscribe, there should be a button up here. Don't forget to give us a like and share with your friends. And please leave comments down below. We love the conversation. Thanks.